So you want to main Ahri, the nine-tailed fox. Well, you've come to the right place. Hi champions, in this video we'll be going through Wild Rift Ahri in depth. We'll be going through Ahri's abilities and leveling order, spells, combos, builds, runes, counters, and general combat tips. And if you have any of your own Ahri tips, please share them in the comments down below. First, ask yourself, why do you want to main Ahri? Ahri's pros: high mobility with her ultimate, she can get in and get out. She can quickly burst down enemies, has great crowd control setup, and she has sustainability. Ahri's cons: Ahri's very squishy. Damage relies on her skill shots. Ahri has multiple roles. She is a mage, but she's also an assassin that deals magical damage. Wild Rift considers her to be of average difficulty, and after playing her for a while now, I do find her average. My name is Teeds. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe and click the bell for everything Wild Rift related, gameplay, guides, and more. Alright, let's get into Ahri's abilities. Ahri's passive, Essence Theft. Whenever Ahri hits a target with an ability, she gains a stack of this passive, Essence Theft. When Ahri has enough stacks, her next ability that hits an enemy will also heal her. It will heal her for 30 plus 25% of her magical damage. You can keep track of her passive under Ahri's health bar. As you can see here, there are 3 dots. If I attack the dummy with one ability, I gain 1 stack. The next ability gives me a second stack, and on the third ability used, it gives me a third stack. You can see that the last stack is now pink. This means the next ability that I use will heal Ahri. You can also tell when the heal is ready if the orb in your hand turns green and it starts making some sounds. Ahri's first ability, Orb of Deception. Ahri's first ability is a line ability type. She launches an orb that deals magical damage on the way out, and it deals true damage on the way back. This ability has a 7-second cooldown. This orb can go through multiple enemies. It will also follow you back, so you can manipulate where it will go depending on your positioning. This ability can also go through walls. This is Ahri's main damaging ability. Ahri's second ability, Fox Fire. This ability releases 3 projectiles that seek nearby enemies. Upon activation, Ahri gains 40% movement speed that will decay over 1.5 seconds. The first shot deals the most. The second and third shot only deal 30% of the damage if it's on the same target. This ability also works directly with her third ability, Charm. These projectiles will hit close enemies. It will prioritize enemies you've attacked over close enemies. It will prioritize enemies you've charmed over attacked enemies. So basically it goes like this: charmed enemies over attacked enemies, and attacked enemies over close enemies. You can also activate this ability before fights. Activating will use the movement speed, but there will be no enemies to hit. The projectiles have their own range, which means some of these could hit something else if the target is out of range. Once you reach an enemy, it will automatically trigger, however there is a timer. If you look on the ability icon, this is how long it will last before it disappears. Foxfire has a 9-second cooldown. This ability can be used for chase, escapes, and it can also be used just to travel faster between lanes. Ahri's third ability, Charm. Ahri's third ability is a line type. Ahri blows a kiss that deals magical damage. It will also charm the enemy hit. This causes them to walk towards Ahri for 1.4 seconds. Charm also buffs the next ability, increasing the damage by 20% for 5 seconds. Charm has a 12-second cooldown. This is her main crowd control and setup ability. Ahri's ultimate, Spirit Rush. Ahri's ultimate is a dash type. The targeting is also a line type. Ahri dashes forward and can deal damage to 3 nearby enemies. With this ultimate, you can dash 3 times within 10 seconds before it goes back on cooldown. To use the dashes, just tap the ultimate ability again. Ranking this ability up will increase the dash distance. The bolt from the dash will prioritize champions. You do not have to dash into the enemy to damage them with your ultimate. This can be used as an engagement and escape. Next, the leveling order. For the first 5 levels, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4. Or you can go 1, 3, 1, 2, 4. This puts more damage into your first ability early. After that, you want to prioritize Ahri's ultimate for increased damage, dash distance, and decreased cooldown, Ahri's first ability for increased damage, Ahri's second ability for increased damage, Ahri's third ability for increased damage and charm duration. For spells, I recommend Flash. This can be used for escapes, chase, and you can combo this with your abilities as well. And then for the second spell, Ignite. This can help you burst or finish enemies while reducing enemy healing. Next, Ahri's combos. Before we get into combos, a few tips and things to remember. Ahri does have a very short movement speed buff on her second ability. This can be used for escapes, chasing the enemy, and just from traveling between lane to lane. Ahri's ultimate can be used as an escape as well if necessary. Ahri's third ability, Charm, is very, very important to hit because it does boost your next ability's damage by 20%. Remember that you can control the movement of your first ability depending on your positioning. Remember, you can activate your second ability before jumping in. You can use abilities and attacks in between Ahri's dashes. This is very good to time because you don't have to unnecessarily use all her dashes within the 10 seconds. Basic attack where possible. Flash can be implemented into these combos for things like closing the distance, sneaking behind the enemy, and more. You can use her second spell, Ignite, with the combos in the before, during, or end phase, but if you know the enemy has a heal, it may be best to do it during or before for the anti-heal. Okay, let's get into the combos. 3 and 1, this is a quick poke combo. Three, 1, 2. Back. 2, 3, 1. And activate 2 before going in. 3, 1, 4, dash once or twice. 4, 2, 3, 1. Your other 2 dashes are situational. There are some more combos Ahri can use. If you would like to add more combos, please share them in the comments down below. But a good rule of thumb to remember is that her third ability buffs the next ability damage, and it is her main setup. Her second ability can be activated before a fight, and it's good to save a dash or 2 in case you need to get out. Next, Ahri's builds. Just a note, builds are situational and it depends on the game you're in. Builds can also change depending on the current meta. The builds are based on what players are currently building in high-level ranked. These are general builds. You can make changes and change the order depending on what you need first for your games. I recommend reading all the item bonuses in-game while you're putting this build together. The first build is a bursty power and pen build. Luden's Echo for power, ability haste, and mana. Ionian Protobout for mobility and damage. Infinity Orb for health, power, and pen. Rabadon's Death Cap for power and pen. Void Staff for more power and pen, and Morellonomicon for anti-heal, pen, and power. The second build is a high sustain utility build that does consistent damage, which is great for Ahri as well because she is a close range mage. Rod of Aegis for increased health, power, and mana. Ionian Protobout for mobility and damage. Lyandra's Torment for health and power. This item is great against high health enemies like tanks. Rylai's Crystal for health and power. Infinity Orb for health, power, and pen. Morellonomicon for health, power, pen, and anti-heal. Next, Ahri's runes. For her main rune, Electrocute, increases damage. Secondary rune, Vampirism, sustain and damage, or Brutal for damage and pen. Third rune, Regeneration for sustain, or Spirit Walker for sustain and slow immunity. And her fourth rune, Hunter Genius, ability haste / cooldown reduction, or Sweet Tooth for sustain and gold. Ahri's counters. Without her mobility, Ahri is very squishy and easy to kill. If her ultimate and charm are down, she can be caught out. Ahri relies a lot on her charm. Enemies who know how to dodge it will be countering a lot of her damage. Ahri is a close range mage. This means as a squishy mage, she can be easy to catch out because she has to be a little bit closer than a normal mage. General and combat tips. You can use her first ability to check for enemies in the grass like here in mid lane. I recommend putting a ward in the grass like this so you have vision of any incoming ganks. You could hide in the bushes to attack unsuspecting enemies, but this could also backfire if they have wards. Ahri's third ability can hit minions, so make sure when using this ability your target is not behind minions. Ahri can use her ultimate to go through walls. Ahri can also use her ultimate to dodge enemy abilities. You can also use it for sneaky attacks like this one where I hide the animation of my first ability, for example, so they cannot predict it and dodge it. Flashing behind them will also be a surprise, and they will take true damage from my first ability. But I would only do this if you know you can kill them or if they're already low on health, because this will put your flash on cooldown so you won't have it up as an escape. If enemies are close enough, you can charm them into the turret range. This way they will take some turret damage. For a first ability, if you hit this at full range, it makes that the enemy cannot dodge it, so they will be hit for the magical damage and for the true damage. And that is all for the Ahri guide. Please let me know in the comments down below which champion you would like to main next. Subscribe and click the bell for more champion guides. I'm planning to release maybe one every day or every 2 days. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. Like the video if you found this helpful. I hope to see you again for the next So You Want to Main. Bye!